We are now joined in the Green Studio by Nicholas Bischof. Hello, Nicholas.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing really well. It's great to have you in the studio. This is your very first time visiting KRFC. You are with Philo Musica, which is a musical playground for all ages here in Fort Collins. Actually, let's start by mentioning the website.
Okay, that's www.philomusica.com. It's kind of a mouthful to say, but it's PHILOMUSICA.com.
You are one of the lead instructors over there. Of course, your parents are the two that basically started Philo Musica here. I believe it was, how long ago was that?
They started, actually, my mom teaching. She's been teaching piano for about 60 years. Her mom was a pianist and a singer. And then they moved from Europe here to the States, and were just starting out a new life because they were traveling through the orchestras all throughout Europe and radio symphony orchestras and things like that. And they actually had 2 children now. And then my younger brother was born in the States. So then basically they had started to come to early childhood music because my mom was always studying music pedagogy with Carl Orff. And he was an up-and-coming children's music instructor and had really enjoyed that and learned a lot from him. And then basically started up Philo Musica by early just starting on teaching piano. And my dad would entertain kids in the front room with his clarinet.
That's really great. So you've been here in Fort Collins for about 17 years. For about 14 years prior in California, before coming to America, actually, you were 1 year of age.
Yeah.
You came over here. You have an accordion. This is a really beautiful instrument. I thought maybe for folks that aren't familiar with this wonderful instrument, accordion, Piper Nunn is somebody actually who you share a fellow teacher. Piper Nunn is a high school student in town. She's been on the show a number of times, and you share a teacher.
Yeah, that's right. Dr. Pop, and I'm really thankful for him that he's shown me a lot of things about music, and a lot of my musical ability comes from him as well.
I thought it'd be really fun. We're going to hop into the first song here. We are listening to Nicholas Bischof, and we're going to hear the first song. What is the first song that we're going to hear, Nicholas?
It's called El Choclo.
El Choclo here on the Emerging Artist Showcase, KRFC 88.9 FM. So tell us, Nicholas, about your specific accordion. For those that maybe have never experienced an accordion, tell us about that.
Well, I didn't always have this accordion, but this accordion is actually an accordion that my teacher has in Denver created, and it's an accordion that has some really neat acoustics that
I need to pause for a moment. You're saying that your teacher created something?
Yeah, he designed and created this accordion.
You're kidding me.
And no, he had come across a professional accordionist in his time, and he had met him, and that was for Monarch Accordions in Denver. And he took that over, and he was becoming really big. He was playing for presidents. He played at the Playboy Mansion with him and his wife, and they were just, they floored me when I saw them. And to find out that they make their own musical instruments was just another thing on top of the cake.
And tell me the name again of the teacher.
So Mike Amon is my teacher, and Mike and Margie Amon are the group that play together, and they play all over the country. They traveled down to Washington, where I found out there was a small mountain town there called Leavenworth, Washington. And this was a town that was an old mining town, and they converted it into a German town, basically, for people coming to enjoy all kinds of music and culture from Germany. Anyway, long story short, there was an accordion festival there. My teacher says, you should come because we're going to go. And my dad was like, oh, yeah, we should take the motorcycle there. And I'm like, oh, no, I don't want to sit on a motorcycle for 5 to 10 hours. I don't know. It would have been a really long trip. So anyway, long story short, I went there and I got to try all kinds of different accordions. I got to try used accordions and from different people because there were many people gathering in that small mountain town to sell not only used accordions, but all kinds of brands of accordions, even digital accordions, Roland and all these different kinds. I got to try all these different ones and I ended up on this one. And I loved it so much. And compared to all the other sounds of the other instruments, I felt floored by it. I didn't even feel like it sounded like an accordion. I just felt it sounded like a dream. So I played it for like hours on end. And I sat there and ended up having to hold the booth for my teacher because I was sitting there so in love with this instrument that I wouldn't let it go.
We are having a great time here in the studio with Nicholas Bischof. We're now going to hear Lucy e Ombre. This is Nicholas Bischof. Really nice, Nicholas. And we actually want to say hello to Werner and Heather, who are in the studio as well. Nice to see you two here. Yeah, I think they're going to sign up as volunteers. And we're also hanging out here with Nicole, who you were on the radio with for the morning mix that I did this morning. It was nice to have you on the radio. That was the first time you were talking in the Red Studio, but not the last. We're here on the Emerging Artist Showcase, and Nicholas is going to go from an Italian song that we just heard to a French song, Sous les cils de Paris, which means under Paris skies. For folks that haven't really looked closely at an accordion, there is a lot going on. I've seen a cutaway of an accordion. There's a whole city inside there of things happening. There really is.
Oh, yeah.
For folks that aren't familiar, kind of talk about what you've got going on there.
In this accordion, I would have 2 reed blocks on the right side and 3 reed blocks on the left side. And what those reed blocks are essentially harmonicas. You can think of them like large harmonicas. And by flipping switches, I can switch on and off the lower section or the higher section and piece together different combinations of those reed sets together, and then you get the sound. So I can kind of play for you a sound that you can hear some of the sounds of the accordion. So those are
a lot of different possible combinations there.
Yeah.
Like real basically, you have with your right hand and your left hand. Talk about what those two hands do.
Oh, completely different things on a lot of songs.
Which may be why you don't see a whole lot of accordion players out there.
Oh, yeah, I guess. On this one song, the El Chocolo that I played earlier, that actually took me about 2 to 3 months to almost just get the left hand to stay and keep doing that, like almost an automatic trained skill of just the left hand independently, and then be able to keep everything nice and even with the bellow. What I think most people don't realize with the accordion is that the hardest part isn't just pushing keys and buttons, but getting the bellows to sound even. And that's what my teacher, Dr. Pop, had always, scolded me about. Oh, well, you're keeping it fairly even this time, but you can work harder at it. And so that's what I really worked at, is just separating each hand and then finally piecing them together.
So you've got your right hand with the... How many keys are on the right hand?
On this accordion, 41 keys.
And then on the left side, you have a number of buttons.
Oh, yeah, even more than piano keys. In fact, everyone knows there's 88 keys on a piano. On my accordion, I have 120 buttons to memorize.
And that is for the bass. That's like the bass. What is that?
Yeah, exactly. There are single notes, and then there are chords as well. So single notes would be... And then, of course, you have chords. But you can do different combinations and things for minor scales, major scales, and then those chords. So you almost have a complete instrument on one side, and on the other side, you can switch it up and do chords or do melody. It depends what song you do, and sometimes you interchange them.
So do you know, Nicholas, what your teacher did with this specific instrument that set it apart from others?
Yeah, he was telling me as he was growing up, he started early on with the accordion. And he, as he was growing up, he started to play with other bands, and he would pick up music and they would just throw it at him and he would have to sight read. And so he was telling me he was in Greek bands and different kinds of ethnic music. But then after a while, he said he joined the military, and then he ended up playing the accordion in the military bands for a while. He came out of that and then started performing, as far as I know, in the orchestras and playing as a soloist. And that was really inspiring to hear, and neat to hear that he had all that classical background as well. And that was what I was really seeking when I was starting out the accordion, was if you can learn classical, I feel like you can play almost anything.
So do you know what it was he added to make that his own type of accordion?
I guess I was talking about Dr. Pop. My other teacher, Mike Amon, was the one that has this Monarch accordion brand. And so he has custom designed the specs of exactly how to tune the reeds and what kind of pressure, the size of each of the buttons, the size of the keys, the switches, the feel of them, and how fast and how agile the keyboard is, and all of those aspects. But you'll generally find with good quality accordions, they all have many things in common, and the technology has just gotten to be better woods and better things like that.
So we're going to go to another Italian song, and the title is Come Back to Sorrento, on the Emerging Artist Showcase, KRFC 88.9 FM. It's been really great, Nicholas, having you in the studio here for the first time. Nicholas Bischof
Thank you.
from Filomusica and your website, filomusica.com. What a great sound. I know of 2 accordion players in town. Of course, Piper Nunn, you sharing the teacher with Piper. We're going to hear a final song. I want to thank you very much for being here. And now this is a Greek song that you were going to dedicate to your mother.
Yeah, my mom is Greek and my dad is German, and always hearing German polka music in the house when my dad was making stews, and my mom would cook Greek food while, like spanakopita and different things like that, and she would play CDs of Greek music, and I would always hear it. I wouldn't know the names of the songs. I couldn't name them off the top of my head, but I always remember seeing her singing and playing in the kitchen, I guess you could say. So I learned this song from my mom, and I'm not even sure what the name of it is.
Nicholas Bischof.